December 26, 1996, Boulder, Colorado was rocked by a tragedy that shook not only a city, but the entire world. The case of JonBenét Ramsey's murder would become one of the most disturbing and inexplicable mysteries in United States history. A 6-year-old girl, known for her beauty and talent in child beauty pageants, was found dead in her own home. The crime, brutal. The mystery, unsolved. But what happened that fateful night? What led to the death of a child who, until then, was seen as a promising star? Let's go back in time and explore the details of this crime, one that still leaves everyone with unanswered questions. It was an ordinary winter morning, but for Patsy Ramsey, JonBenét's mother, that day would become a nightmare. Around 5:30 a.m., she made a frantic call to the police. JonBenét, her 6-year-old daughter, had disappeared. A ransom note, allegedly written by a kidnapper, was found on the stairs of the Ramsey home. The note demanded a large sum of money, but something seemed wrong. The letter was written in a strange, almost nonsensical way, with errors and odd details that didn't match the usual tone of a ransom note. And the most disturbing part? JonBenét wasn't in the house where the note claimed she'd be held. She was somewhere else, right there, inside her own home. Patsy and John Ramsey, JonBenét's parents, began searching their home. Then, hours later, a macabre discovery was made. JonBenét's body was found in the basement of the house. Her body was positioned strangely, with a cord tied tightly around her neck and a piece of tape covering her mouth. The scene was cold and disturbing. Little JonBenét had been brutally murdered. She had been struck on the head, and the forensic examination revealed that the cause of death was asphyxiation. But the most terrifying aspect was the meticulous way the crime had been executed. The child's body was immobile, positioned almost ritualistically, and there were no signs of a struggle. Immediately, the police began investigating the Ramsey family members. The fact that JonBenét had been found inside the house, rather than outside as the ransom note suggested, led detectives to believe she might not have been kidnapped at all. This raised a number of suspicions about what had really happened that night. JonBenét's father, John Ramsey, and her mother, Patsy, were in shock, but investigators quickly noticed that the crime scene didn't make sense. If JonBenét had been kidnapped, why was the ransom note written so strangely? And why was JonBenét found inside the house? Patsy was questioned, and her statements were unclear. She appeared nervous, anxious, and her inability to provide clear information raised suspicions. But the evidence was still not enough to accuse anyone directly. Meanwhile, the media went into a frenzy. The case was widely covered by newspapers, television, and radio. JonBenét, a little girl who had been a beauty pageant star, was now the face of a horrifying mystery. The media, fueled by speculation, began to create theories. Some believed the murder was tied to the world of child beauty pageants. Others suggested it might have been a crime of passion, possibly committed by someone with jealousy or a grudge. Over time, theories about possible sexual abuse of JonBenét emerged, which was later confirmed by forensic analysis. But who could have committed such a horrifying act, and why? The case became an obsession, not only for investigators but for the entire nation. Years passed, and no clear answers emerged. The police investigated numerous leads, and suspects came and went. The media, increasingly obsessed, kept pushing for answers. Yet the evidence was never conclusive. Many believed the killer might have been someone from within the house, perhaps a member of the family, someone from JonBenét's inner circle. But to this day, no one has been convicted. The case of JonBenét Ramsey remains unsolved. What happened that Christmas night in 1996 continues to defy logic and reason. The tragedy of a life interrupted so early, a child who should have been playing, but was brutally taken from everyone, left a mark on history. JonBenét Ramsey's name, like a shadow, still looms over those searching for answers. Today, more than 20 years later, JonBenét's murder is still an unresolved mystery. The case has become a symbol of all unsolved crimes, of all the tragedies that challenge our understanding of human cruelty. To this day, the people of Boulder and the investigators still ask, who killed JonBenét Ramsey, and more importantly, why? And the true answer? Perhaps we'll never know. But the memory of JonBenét Ramsey and the pain of her loss continues to echo, fueling the quest for justice. Like, share, and comment if you want more stories like this.